Tonight, Chaz Marler geeks out about Weird Al Yankovic, and I give horrible clues.
Welcome to Game All Nite.
Now I'm joined tonight by Chaz Marler of Paradise, but I'm also coming at you live from in front of the shelfie here of Dwarf Token on Twitter. You can send yours in using the hashtag GANShelfie. Be sure to tune in to the end of the show when we reveal the top 5 countdown of the week, and you'll also find out how you can participate in that. So let's get on with the show. Alrighty, here we are on another episode of Game All Nite. Today, I am joined by Pair of Dice Paradise's own Chaz Marler. How we doing, Chaz?
I'm doing really good. It's so great to be here. I've been a listener and viewer for years, so it's great to finally be able to be on the show.
Oh, outstanding. And considering you may have needed a time machine to do that, but Chaz does have the infamy of being the first commenter and the first poster on our first video. So, you know, he definitely gets, we don't award 10,000 points on my show. We do 1,000,000 points because, you know, 10 times is always better. I think that's the math. Don't quote me on that.
Wow. I'm already impressed, and I'm going to go and delete all of my Flip the Table podcasts off my phone right now. That's just amazing.
No, you can't do that because we're in the middle of Bant's the Vote right now. So we're
that's right, yeah.
We're trying to get Flip the Table to go out with a bang and be best podcast of the year. Even though I love all the other nominees, I don't think there's a bad one in that lot. You know, I think Flip the Table deserves that nice little nod at the end here. Hopefully this gets up in time.
It would be really, really cool if they could pull it off. They've really put on an amazing show. So they really deserve it.
Outstanding. Now, you and I have one thing in common. We both started this whole board game adventure into Hobbyland in 2012. You came at it through the Dice Tower. I kind of came at it from Tabletop. On their season 1. So, you know, walk me through that journey. You told me in your pre-interview that the Dice Tower is what actually got you into the hobby, and then you ended up being on it. So what was that like?
Well, it started out, I was actually looking for little plastic ship stands for a game called Twilight Imperium 3rd Edition from a company that makes these little plastic accessories called litco.net. And I found these little Litco ship stands in January of 2012. And I was like, man, do I want to get these? And they had on their webpage a link to a video by this guy named Tom. It's like, oh, okay, I'll watch this little Dice Tower review of these little ship stands. And, you know, okay. It was an intriguing little video. I ended up buying the ship stands. And I remember after the video was over, I remember thinking, I wonder if this Dice Tower has any other videos. And that just opened the door to the rabbit hole that I tumbled down right then. And like for 6 months, the Dice Tower was my evening television viewing, trying to catch up on all of these games and all of these amazing things that I never knew about, and I was just starting to get introduced to, and that really sucked me in. And the rest, as they say, is the history.
All right, so if you're watching all those videos early on, so we're talking Ryan Metzler was back on. We had Tom. I think Z was doing some, but not quite as many. Same thing with Sam. What was the voice that cried out that you're like, he likes the stuff I like? Who was that?
Oh boy. None of them. Actually, out of all the video reviewers out there, I'm as surprised as anyone to discover. I think that Dan King has the most overlap with my tastes. I think. A kind of a
Okay.
combo of Dan and Z, probably. But at that point, though, I didn't know what I liked. It was all so new. I had like 5 games in my collection. And there were, I just remember those first 6 months or so watching the Dice Tower videos. It was all just to learn about what was out there. And I didn't know, a Euro game from Ameritrash, from a hole in the ground. And Hole in the Ground, fortunately, turned out to be a great game. But I didn't know what I was looking for. So I had no idea what my tastes were at that time.
Yeah, and that's kind of the hard thing, is finding the voice in the hobby that appeals to you. But, if you were the fan that I think you were, is there a copy of Jamaica in your library at this moment?
Is there, you ask? Is there? There not only is a copy of Jamaica in my library, I see it every day. It's right there. Wait, did you see it behind me?
I didn't see that.
Purpose?
No, I couldn't. The box was washed out. I couldn't see it. No, it's
right
definitely... That's the sign of the early Dice Tower hit around 2012, because, man, they would not stop talking about that game. But you know what? It's still in my library. It survived several culls, and I can't get rid of it. The art's great. The gameplay's great. It's still a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. And I believe they just recently released an expansion for it. Just late last year or early this year, an expansion for Jamaica finally came out.
I think so. But luckily, the completionist bone of me isn't needing to be getting it this minute, because as much as I like it, it doesn't come out often enough. So, but we'll see. Maybe we'll give it a try. So you went and you're enjoying this Dice Tower thing. You're seeing all these videos and, some Game Boy Geek here and there. What made you say, I think I want to be on there doing some stuff? Because you were, if I'm not mistaken, I think you were on one of the original Board Game Breakfast tiers, as I like to call them now. I'm hashtag copyright me. Were you like one of the original people producing content for that show, right?
I believe I came in, I think, around episode 17. I actually had reached out to Tom by email a few months earlier. I'd been watching the Dice Tower stuff, and I have a background in web programming. And so I was like, I want to get involved somehow. And I'd been doing some videos, in my garage, basically, and just trying to figure out my own voice. And I'd only been doing videos for like 6 months. But I emailed Tom, and I actually created a little script that would graph out his top 100s over the years. So you could plug in the name of a game, and it would go and show you in his top 100 how they went up and down over time. And that never really got off the ground or went anywhere, because I think it was written in a programming language that his website didn't use, which was a lack of foresight on my part there, building something someone can't use. So that kind of bummed me out, but I kept watching, and then I kept making my own videos. And around Board Game Breakfast 17 or so, he put out a call for new contributors, and I said, well, what the heck, I'm going to try it. And at that time, I thought I was going to do a 2-part series, and so he's like, yeah, come on board. And I did the first one, and then I did the second one, and I realized, oh, wait, I have something to say. And that 2-part series became an 11-part series. And then I just kept going and trying new things. And, just 2 weeks ago, I published my 200th Board Game Breakfast segment, and kind of put it on hiatus for a little bit. Kind of, I realized, just between you and me, and I'm sure there's no one else listening,
No,
I kind of ran out of ideas around number 75. And so when I hit 200, I was like, I'm going to take some time to pause and recharge my creative batteries, try to come up with some new approaches to some things. So that's the current state of it. But that's how it got started, though.
No, definitely. And, I remember those early episodes, because they were, I forget what you titled them exactly, but I remember, it was more about the awkwardness of being involved with game groups and trying to get out into this hobby and, try to break down those social anxiety barriers. And I think that, no one was doing anything like that. And I think it was really important for a lot of people to know, like, he's going on like this show and telling people about it. And that was pretty awesome, I have to say.
Well, thank you. That's the series of anything at all that I have published on YouTube. That is the single thing that I am the most proud of. Just because when I'm at a convention or something, people still will come up to me and say, that really touched me and helped me. It's like, wow, I had no idea it was going to actually help other people. That had to have been around September of that first year. So I remember March was my first segment I did. So, okay, to be honest, then by September of that first year is when I started running out of ideas, because that series, which is called Meeples for Sheepish Peoples, was because that year I had the opportunity to go to Gen Con, and I chickened out. And it's like, the travel and a hotel and going there with all the people, and there's 60,000 people. I'm just going to let it pass. And I spent that Gen Con glued to social media, watching all the friends in board game media that I had been starting to make, watching all of them have this blast at Gen Con. And I realized, well, what do I want more? Do I want to stay in my safe place? Or do I want to push myself and be there and enjoy this and have these experiences with these people I'm getting to know? And that conversation with myself is what was the genesis of the Meeples for Sheepish People series, and it was kind of the starting point of that conversation. And it kind of just went out from there. And it's one of the most personal things, but also, like I said, one of the things I'm proudest of producing, period. So.
And you should be. I mean, that was definitely great. And then and that was pre-Gen Can't, if I'm not mistaken. So you didn't have the social media little try to get together thing that Suzanne would come along and do later to kind of try and make people not have this, the FOMO, fear of missing out with the Gen Con that we tend to have in this hobby. So then you fast forward to this year, and that's when I actually met you for the first time. I bought Skyward off of you at the Passport Games booth. And then we met again briefly at PAX U, where we actually had a little time to chat.
You were there, and I think that's when we got to really chat and talk proper. That was really that night was one of those nights. That's one of those nights that I missed out on by not going to that very first Gen Con. It was one of those nights that's emblazoned in my memory of this PAX Unplugged, really worth it, just because of this evening with all of these neat people together.
That night in the lobby, it was hysterical because it started off with me going up to Rodney Smith and asking him if I could borrow his room key so my wife could use the bathroom. And then it just kind of degraded from there. But it was, I know exactly what you mean. That, the moment when, I was taking your guys' picture and everybody pulled me in to take it with y'all, it was, that was really special, and it was a lot of fun, and it's why I love this hobby and this group. And it was one of the it was one of the reasons I came up with there you go. One of the reasons I came up with the idea for the show is this. And it's huge, and it kind of all goes back to how people treat each other in this hobby, and it's awesome.
Oh yeah. It's an amazing thing. In any hobby, you're going to have your occasional jerks and stuff, but overall, I believe that the percentage of awesome people in the board game hobby, maybe it's because it's so social or whatever, but the percentage of awesome people in this hobby seems to be exponentially higher than most other hobbies I've ever been involved with, and it's just fantastic.
No, it definitely is. So then we come up to present day, and you are now. Did you actually start Pod Pledge, or did Pod Pledge kind of grow out of something? Where did that kind of start?
Okay. Oh, well, again, with my web development programming background, that's kind of what I've done for a living for 17 plus years, and so I got to the point where I wanted to raise funds for the Pair of Dice Paradise channel, and I did an Indiegogo campaign my first time around, and that was a modest success. That was great. But then I got some ideas of what I wanted to be able to do. It's like, well, I want this feature, and I want this to I want to work this way, and I want to be able to carry over subscribers. Like I see a lot of media people will run Kickstarters, and they'll run a Kickstarter campaign and work real hard and get everyone to join it and everything, and they do it, and it funds that year, and then next year they'll start their next Kickstarter and they got to start all over from scratch. It's like, well, wait a minute. I do automated recurring billing and subscription services and all this other stuff. Why wouldn't it be neat if you could just have a project, if you did like an annual seasonal fundraiser, to just let your backers subscribe to it and automatically carry over from one campaign to the next year's campaign, so you don't have to start over from scratch. And that was my own impetus for the beginning of Podpledge. So I went in, I took several months, my team and I, with this idea, we kind of brainstormed it and fleshed it all out. And that next summer, before my second year's fundraiser, we built it out and everything and launched it. And I became the first and sole user of it for a couple of years. And it's kind of grown from there, though. What's really nice is since last fall, it's really started to get some more momentum, and a lot more of the board game media people that I know and admire and want to help out have been starting to ask about it and get involved. And that's what's really cool about it, because that was kind of what I wanted from day one. Is you go to some fundraising platforms and you're really small fish in a really big sea. If we could turn Podpledge into a place where supporters look first when they want to support board game media people, it's going to benefit all of us. And so that's kind of the approach I'm taking right now with it, is trying to say, oh, let's focus on this board game niche with all of these fellow collaborators and friends and stuff that we've made, people I admire, and let's really try to build something that has a critical mass and then kind of expand out from there. But let's concentrate on our community we have going on right now.
And it's all these reasons, which is why when we launched, we decided we're not going to do the slow roll. We're just going to go, and we committed to Podpledge early on, and that's going to be our main funding platform. And if we do a Kickstarter or something down the road, we'll do that. But we want that to be our main platform because of the roots in the business. And I think that that's really important. And it's awesome to hear that you guys are really focused on it. And I love the addition of the proprietary goods that we can now sell through the site. Once we get up and running, we'll be able to do that. That's awesome. I mean, how many of us podcasters now have to run a PayPal page and then have to set up a Cafe Press site, or we have to do all these other things? And a lot of us, especially if you're a Bernard fan, Puffin Slayer, he's making all this stuff for us, and then we need to sell it. And you kind of really saw a great opportunity there to help us out. And I think that alone is awesome.
Well, don't thank me. Thank the leftover playmats, patches, and coins that I've had laying around from my previous fundraiser years, where I was trying to figure out how to offload those. So that allowed me to find a way to sell my leftover merchandise. And it just, hey, it doesn't help other people. Hey, that's great.
No, it was spot on. It was a need that needed filling. Now, can you trace back your influx from the fall to the whole Patreon kerfuffle when they decided to change their fee model and then put the onus on the Patreons themselves versus the platform provider like it was previously? They just kind of flipped that switch and didn't really warn anybody. How much did that help you, do you think?
That honestly, that was a very unfortunate event that happened, and it negatively impacted a lot of people, which is always sad to see. People were losing their backers and getting, people that were backing at like $1 were getting disproportionate fees. That definitely did help give some momentum to the current momentum that Podpledge has. It was one of those things where a lot of people were like, if that's going to happen, they started looking around to other things. And in that kind of situation, all you can really do is, polish up your software best you can, put on your best bow tie and a big smile and say, well, let me tell you about this if you want to know. And a lot of people started listening and asking questions. And it really did. It was like, in a way, it was hopefully turning some people's lemons into lemonade for them, and opening some doors and some opportunities that they might not have had, including myself as well, with trying to help out more people. It's a little weird to talk about, benefiting from someone else's a bad decision, but that's what I'm here for.
Well, it's a business opportunity, and if they didn't drop the ball, then it's kind of, the onus is on them, so I wouldn't feel bad about that. Had they informed people what was happening, had they given the people who were receiving the funds the opportunity to say, you know what, I'll take care of the fees, don't push it on to people. Had they just approached things differently, that would have been a completely different outcome. But they weren't transparent, and it was very difficult.
Yeah, well, that was the response. So I met with my team in response to that, and there was, from a business standpoint, it's like, well, is there an opportunity here? And within 48 hours, we had a button on the checkout page when you're making your pledge to toggle on or off. Yes, I want to pay the merchant processing fees, or no, you can opt out. And it's like, well, we'll just add a little button to add it or not. And that way the person making the pledge and supporting the campaign can make the decision themselves. And presto, problem solved. So yeah, it was one of those things where, trying to find the opportunity in it to best provide the tools that the people running the campaigns and backing the campaigns are looking for, and let them be in control of it as much as possible. It allowed that to kind of develop.
Yeah, and it's but well done. It's definitely appreciated from a receiver point of view. I definitely appreciate it, and that's going to be where we're going to use going forward. I mean, definitely, because you support the hobby. So thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate that very, very much. Thank you. And I hope it, I hope it lives up to the potential it needs to for you.
Absolutely. Well, we have awesome people in the crowd already, so I think we have a very good head start. So let's move on to something a little less businessy. So in the pre-questionnaire here, I hear that, the Weird Al news today, that he's releasing a new single, might be important to you in any way, shape, or form. Is he somebody you look up to? Are you a big polka fan? What's the deal here?
Yes and yes. There's actually there's a album that my best friend found in my family's LP archives back in high school, of this priest from Minnesota called the Polka Padre, who released a polka album that my family owned for some reason, and it became an instant classic in our rotation of me and my best friend during high school. In fact, I just filmed a video last weekend with him. He's a radio DJ, so we do a lot of music and board game crossover videos when we get together. And he surprised me by bringing that album with him, and we talked about it a little bit. So that album is still in the rotation of our music collections. But Weird Al himself, yeah, I've been a fan of Weird Al. I got introduced to Weird Al right when Dare to Be Stupid came out, and was instantly just enthralled with his music. In fact, I was so enamored with him that when I got married, on a lark, I sent a wedding invitation to Weird Al's fan club, inviting him to our wedding. And of course, didn't offer to pay his expenses or anything, but because what does a stupid kid out of school who's getting married know? But he actually, spoiler alert, he didn't show up to the wedding or anything like that.
Aww.
But he did write me back a handwritten letter explaining I'm performing in New York that weekend. Congratulations. Sorry I can't be there. And I have that letter still in a very special place. So that was really a class act of him, I thought.
That's pretty awesome. People don't think to do that stuff anymore, but it's It's awesome. I bet you if he would have been more local, he probably is the type. I think he would have stopped by and you would have had a little polka experience, but you might have needed a hoopah for that one, I think.
Perhaps. And I can't help but get the impression that I have to agree that he's that type of guy. I think so too.
All right. So without putting you on the spot too much, what are a few of the favorite songs that he's done that kind of stand out for you?
Oh, my absolute favorite. Or maybe I should go in reverse order. Okay. Just a few favorites. I actually have been enjoying Genius in France, which is from one of his more recent albums. I enjoy Word Crimes, which is off Mandatory Fun, which is his most recent one. And just because I love the linguistic stuff in it. I love This Is the Life, which I believe was in the movie Johnny Dangerously. And oh boy, and in 3D was the first record I ever got myself. So I listened to In 3D. Oh, I wore out the wax. Oddly enough, I was young enough though. The last song on that album is called Nature Trail to Hell, which is a spoof on horror movies and the hype. But I was scared of it. And I actually would skip it for years. It wasn't until I was like in 6th or 7th grade, I finally I'm going to listen to this Nature Trail to Hell song. I hope I don't die and get sent to hell. And I was like, oh, that's all this is about. It's just about a stupid, Friday the 13th knockoff. Oh, I've been scared of the song for no reason. But anyway, so that. But my favorite Weird Al song has got to be Dog Eat Dog. I believe that's off. That's off Polka Party, I believe. But that's my favorite one.
So if anybody's curious, just look up. Maybe you know the answer to just how many albums Weird Al has made. It is a lot.
It's between 11 and 13. Let's see. There's Weird Al. There's In 3D. There's Dare to Be Stupid. There's Polka Party. Then there's UHF soundtrack. I missed one there. We'll see. There's Straight Outta Linwood. This is not good television, so I'll just stop counting right here. But there's a lot. Yes, there's a lot of them.
Oh, we're not on a podcast, so it's fine.
Okay. You can watch him count. That makes it okay.
Exactly. It's entertaining to see fingers move. But okay, so you bring up UHF, and I will tell you that I have been trying to find a way to put the Wheel of Fish into this show somehow. It just, oh, red snapper, very tasty. Just
your
that
little
movie's
logo.
A classic.
Oh yes, the little logo on the front of your desk there, the Game All Nite is round. You could definitely put like a rivet in the middle and have that spin somehow. And I think once you get it that far, incorporating fish into it somehow, slam dunk. There you go.
Well, the problem is I kind of already have something like that.
Oh, Chris, you've thought of everything.
Yeah, well, I use this for the game with Flip, but the problem is that it's a little small. It would be the Wheel of Sardines, I think. So we
the anchovy
need to retool that a little bit. But no, it's UHF is, not many people can make the jump, but Weird Al is just so satirical. It worked. I haven't seen it in a little bit. I need to go back and watch it again, but it's the typical 80s come from behind underdog classic, I don't even think people know what UHF is anymore though.
Oh, that's true.
I don't know.
It's almost an obsolete
I don't know what it is. I have no idea what UHF is. And I could have swore I knew.
The movie or the band?
Wait.
Like,
It's
the channels that are above channel 13, right?
Wait. There's two things that are UHF.
Okay, we need to take a 90-minute
UHF
pause in the program to let Gary watch a movie.
Through the magic of time travel, Gary is going to go watch the movie, and then he'll rejoin us.
All right, I'll see
you
guys.
Later time. Gary,
no idea.
Gary does not do the prep for the show that I do. I'm just saying.
You have a whole movie library and music library that you got to go listen to the whole thing before the episode.
Now, I'm not a fan of musicals. I grew up in a household where mom played musicals constantly. And it's really sad because I'm 2 hours away from New York City. I have friends who go to Broadway all the time, and never been. I probably won't. It's just not my thing to spend hundreds and hundreds and more on. But I might actually like listen to Hamilton just so I can understand what Weird Al did. I mean, honestly, because he does this weird thing where he's able to parody a thing and then parody the song that he's doing it with at the same time. It's like a double parody, and I think that's why his stuff works. It's not just, it's a juxtaposition in a lot of times of, part A with part B, and it just kind of, it works. It works.
Oh yes, yeah. He's able to put several layers into his lyrics oftentimes, and it's amazing. It also makes it very replayable. You can listen to his albums again and again and pick out new little things. There's still. I was listening to. It might have been. It wasn't his first album. It might have been In 3D. I was listening to it just like the last couple of weeks, and I caught something new in one of the songs that I'd never had noticed before. Some little thing he says right as it's fading out. It's like, I never caught that. And it's been, almost 30 years or more, and that's a new thing you can still pick out.
Do you think it kind of has the Looney Tunes effect where we were younger when that stuff came out? And it was kind of written on a dual level where it's funny for us as kids, but as adults, we're like, oh no, that's even funnier now.
Oh, I think so. There are some things that I never even noticed. There's a couple lines in Girls Just Want to Have Lunch and that actually were a little more adult than I realized ever. And, going around the house singing that, in front of my mom and stuff, I'm sure she raised an eyebrow. But there's a few layers in some of these songs. The Word Crimes that I mentioned earlier has a line in there that's like, if I was in fourth grade, I would not have picked that up. But that was not necessarily a line for fourth graders. If you get the pun that he makes there, so you can appreciate it on a lot of different, not just adult humor stuff, not just blue stuff, but also like layers, like a lot of things are like, as a kid, you enjoy it on one level, the humor, and as an adult, you're like, yep, oh, I know exactly what you mean. First World Problems is a song off of his newest album too. And the First World Problems song, it's like, yeah. And my daughter listens to it and she kind of enjoys some of the funnier little punchlines. But I'm like, no, you don't understand about not being able to get Wi-Fi in your kitchen. Yeah, that's a real problem.
Nice. So speaking of V-Bug, now sorry to destroy the illusion, but I have no kids and I'm not necessarily a fan of children. I work in restaurants, so I have many reasons why I don't like them. But there are a few exceptions, and V-Bug and like Cora, they're the only two that I watch on these board game shows that really kind of resonate with me. I love that you bring her into your show, and I think she brings something special. So what made you include her in that?
Well, first of all, I know what you mean. I'm not a really big fan of watching other people's kids either. Even if it's like a network television show or something, if there's a kid in it, it's like, oh, here we go. But of course, your own kid is fine. I don't want to watch, no one wants to watch anyone's kid except mine. Sure. As for why I brought her in, well, that's a little bit of a special trade secret here I'll share with you. A little secret. All the videos I create are basically made for her. And so she's really the audience I have in mind a lot of times, especially when some of the sillier things, the sillier videos I do, they're kind of for her. And so if she wanted to be involved, she sees her daddy making these funny videos and laughing at himself, and she wants to laugh too. So she wanted to get involved. And so when she wants to make that leap in, I wanted to find a format that she could be included on. and include her whenever she wants to be. And there's sometimes it's like she asks to film something, and there's sometimes that she's like, no, I don't want to, and it's like, okay, I'll go do something else. But I think the real secret to have her level of engagement is knowing when to step back and let her just do her thing, and then rely on the magic of very severe editing to kind of save the day and make something coherent and watchable. But I've gotten really lucky in that she and the commenters and people I talk to at conventions, they will be the first people to back this up. She is much better on camera than I am by far. So she does a much better job anyway. So that definitely helps.
She's definitely adorable and brings a lot of personality to it. I definitely can remember seeing her on a lot of shows, and it's got to be a little tough, I guess, putting your daughter out into the world like that. It's, as a father, how does it feel to do that, and how do you balance that?
Well, that's part of it is, part of it is only having her on when she wants to be. That's part of it, and make, and trying to educate her of, this is going to be out there and it's going to be seen by a lot of people forever. And, some people are good and some people are weird and stuff. So you just know, and, there's a reason also where as a parent, I call her V-Bug exclusively on the show, on the channel, because you never know who's out there watching. And I think that that was one of the decisions that my wife and I made early on. It's like, let's call her by her nickname when she's on the channel. And it's something that I've never had an issue with anything, but it's still something I'm glad I did. So you got to find those boundaries. You got to find the places where you can be expressive and inclusive, but still try to be protective as well. And I hope, I don't think any parent actually can do it 100%, but I hope I can find that balance in there without going too overboard one way or the other.
Well, I think it's important to kind of, if you try to say you can't do this, and they get fearful of it, then when it comes time that they're able to do something, it's going to go, it could go completely off the rails. But by, kind of bringing her in early and kind of giving her guardrails, I think that's really going to help. And, again, not a parent. There's a reason for that. But, that's my observation. And I think that's awesome, because I think you can see that that's a conscious decision in how you guys present, your children. You and Dan both do it very well. And I think it's important, but it plays well. Dan does a great job, and I talk to him every now and then, and it's just neat to see kind of have that same type of cross section in the media we produce, and some of the problems and benefits we've both seen from it. So another thing, Chaz, I think I don't know if you know this, but you have a subtle influence on the show that I'm producing. Once upon a time, you did your top 100. And you did it in front of your bookcase, but you didn't treat it as just a game case. You treated it as a little display thing, and you had the one cube that you just constantly changed for each one. And it was a little celebration of a variety of things. I remember the 10,000 points from Flip the Table. I remember V-Bug's little corner. I remember that, and it stuck out. And I'm like, you're trying something different. Yeah, you're standing in front of a bookcase, but that wasn't the story. I didn't know what games were on that shelf, but I certainly saw what was going on there. And so there's literally a shelf back here that will always change, and it's based solely on that. And I'm like, there's a lot of personality in that, and I think that you plan that very well.
Wow, I'm humbled to be able to have that make an impression like that. Thank you. I appreciate that. And it's, that was really fun, because it was a 10-part series. So as I was kind of putting it together, I realized, and it was actually just unplanned. At that time, I was still building that wall of shelves and filling it with games. And I just happened to have one shelf of space left I had not filled yet. And so I kind of moved my shelves around. It's like, I'll use this to give a shout out 10 different people, 10 different things that I like, and I just kind of used that to highlight them, and it worked out really neat, and I kept it kind of, in a way, it was something to look for, an Easter egg each time, which I think was kind of cool. But just the fact that you or anybody else noticed that and took note is really humbling and kind of cool.
Well, not meant to be that way. It's just it's I definitely appreciate it when people do something different and quirky and offbeat, and I think I just described everything you do, but it's top 100s they're interesting. And for the record, spoiler alert, you'll never see me do one because no way I'm gonna ever get through that. I don't even think I could do a top 10. I'm not gonna lie.
God. Don't even remind me, man. I have to.
Hi, Gary. I forgot Gary's caught in the web of 100, aren't you, Gary?
Yeah, it's not gonna be fun.
Gary,
apparently there's
Gary,
software you can use.
Let me give you a tip. Let me give you a piece of encouragement. Okay, so just so you know, that top 100 series was literally the longest recording sessions and most difficult editing jobs I've ever had to do. It was a living nightmare. So, good luck to you, buddy.
Oh my god, that helped a lot. Those are the exact words I need to hear right now for that. Well, thanks, Chaz. Thank you.
That's what I'm here for.
We tried to talk Gary into totally punking it and just saying, Kemet, but he's actually going to do it, and I'm happy to offer any of my sarcasm voice work that you need, Gary, to help you out with that. But I'm not editing squat.
That's just one episode. Just one. That's if I could get 10 people.
How long did it take you to record that one thing? I think that took you what? 4 takes to record that one little bit that one time?
Oh my god. That Okay, so the problem with that one was that so behind here is my actual white screen. So before it was a green screen, and I had a problem because the green screen coloring was off and it didn't work. So then I had to go white screen, and then so the first time the sound didn't work. Second time the green screen was off. Third time, I was out of focus the entire 40 minutes. So, fourth time, I actually got it right and then recorded all and got everything working. And then, yeah, that was, I started that video at the beginning of December. And it got released, mid-February? So,
So basically, we built an entire show in the time it took you to get one bit down. That's my takeaway.
It literally was. I didn't even think of it like that, but that literally was the time it took to make this show, was to do that top 10. Oh man! And then the funny thing was, the best part about it is that then it got released and everyone was just like, "Hey Gary, the music's way too loud." I'm like, God, almost had it. Like, all that. Which they were right. They were right. I can't even argue with it. They were right. So it's just so funny though. But I'm so done with this top 100. I haven't even started yet. So but yeah, that's not looking forward to it. But anyways, guys.
Well, enough about the Gary show. I mean, come on. My name's a lot bigger. So, but anyway, so Chaz, it's been a lot of fun. I think we need to end it though, and I think we're getting ready for our game, which is coming up next. We're going to be trying 5-second board games coming up after this commercial break. Have you or a loved one been hurt in a board game accident, by a table, cut by a card, or worse? Have you suffered a DVT from sitting at a board game too long? Have you or someone you love lost fingers, appendages, or even life due to these games? Well, here at Meeple and Bits, we are the board game lawyers. No one understands board game law like we do. We will fight hard for your right, so be sure to contact us before you make any decision. You can reach us at 1-800-555-BITZ. That's 1-800-555-BITZ. And remember to call us because we don't get paid unless you do. All right, so now it's time for Games with Guests. And today I have Chaz Marler, and we are playing 5-second board game summaries. Now, in this secret envelope that we have mailed Chaz, I don't know what's in mine. Chaz doesn't know what's in his. We each have 5 board game titles, and it's up to us to describe in 5 seconds or less what that game is. Now, we're not allowed to use, obviously, the title. Come on now, like every game ever. We can't use the designers, and we can't use the artist. All right? And I'm going to throw publisher in there, too. So, sorry, Steven, Bonacor, we're not going to say Stronghold 52 times. So, that'll happen another day. All right. So, Chaz, you have your secret envelope. Are you ready to play 5-second board game summaries?
Yeah, I figured this was either an elaborate game or the most elaborate jury subpoena I've ever received. So I'm glad to find out it's just a game.
All right, so we're going to open up our envelopes here. And, you know, it's our tradition on the show to let the guest go first.
This envelope is really
Don't
tough.
worry.
It's like breaking into a stronghold.
Yeah, I know. It's almost like you need a portal to get into it.
All right.
See what I did there?
Oh, portal. Okay, yeah. Okay, I got my cards here, and oh my word. Okie doke. And I'm going first. Let me know when you're ready to have me be ready to start here.
All right, so I'll get one guess after Chaz starts describing, and hopefully through the magic of editing, Gary will put a timer on the screen. So just whenever you're ready, Chaz, you
Here's
can
the first
start.
one. All right. Guessing terrible words with friends.
Oh, guessing terrible words with friends. Cards Against Humanity?
That's what it is! Cards Against Humanity!
Oh, sweet. Awesome.
I'm
Well done. Well done. So 1 point for Chaz. All right. Because the onus is on the guesser here.
Are we going back and forth, or do you want me to do all 5?
We'll go back and forth. All right. Middle Eastern trading involving swimming pools as well.
Middle Eastern trading involving swimming pools as well. It's not Istanbul, is it?
No, unfortunately, it's Marco Polo.
Marco Polo.
Sorry.
Would you mind changing yours to Istanbul?
I would love to, but I can't write like this. Sorry.
Fair
All
enough,
right.
fair enough.
Well, Chaz 1, me 0. All right.
Oh,
Our next one.
sorry. Okay. All righty. Okay. Diseases spread worldwide. You got to cure it.
Pandemic for the win.
Pandemic it is.
Nice. Very good. I mean, there are a lot of pandemics to go from, so thank God we stuck to the base.
It was just vanilla pandemic. So yeah, that is true. That's lucky it wasn't one of the derivatives.
All right. I think I got this one. I got a good one here. You ready?
Yeah.
25 spies.
25 spies. Huh. I'm gonna have to lose you another point. I think you should get half my points. I think that's only fair. 25 spies. Well, it's not City of Spies because you couldn't have said that, and it's not Spyfall because you can. 25 spies. Is it? It's not Redacted. No, but I'm saying Redacted even though it's not that.
Code names.
Oh, for the love of cheese, of code names. Oh,
I outsmarted myself on that one, Chaz. That's not you. All right, Chaz has 2. I'm rocking the donut. In true
I think
second call out, flip the table.
Points.
All right.
You should have at least half my points. This isn't this. Okay.
I'll take point 3.
Okay. All right. Building train routes on version after version after version after version after version.
That has to be Ticket to Ride.
Ta-da! Yes.
Excellent.
And again,
well done.
So.
All right. Agricola's cousin with donkeys.
Caverna.
Yes! Yes, he's on the board.
and you got that to me so fast. I was able to get my guess in within the 5 seconds. I think you should get like 2 points or something.
You're still in the lead then, but
well,
all right. So Chaz with 3. Oh no,
it's about to change. Okay. All right. Dice Euroweek game. Lots of people's introduction to this guy's stuff.
So I'm going a little meta because I asked my wife to write these down, so I know that it might be sitting upstairs. Alien Frontiers?
No, that's such a better answer for what. Oh, that's what my clue should have been for. No, it is Castles of Burgundy, and as soon as it came out of my mouth, I thought of 3 better clues. So, but Alien Frontiers fits perfectly with that clue.
All right. Alrighty. Engineers, cowboys, and lots of cows, and also carpenters. Train routes. What the?
did Bell land on a cat?
I'm sorry, guys.
Wrong button, Gary.
Yeah, my bad. But continue.
Thanks for buying some time. But
okay, electricians, cattle, people. The only thing that's coming to mind is Great Western Trail, but it can't be that because that would be giving a shout out to Stronghold Games, and we can't have that. But for lack of a better answer, I'm going to have to go with Great Western Trail and be ashamed of myself.
There's no better answer because it's the correct one.
Woohoo! There we go.
No shout out required. Eggertspiel though. We can go with Eggertspiel. That's fine. That's fine, right?
We're doing that. Let's do that. Yes. You can dub over my voice. Just dub it over. Yeah. All right.
You're assuming Steven's even going to watch this, but it's a whole nother story.
Well, since he's not here, did you hear about this? All
right.
All right. Here. Okay. Small fishing village becomes bustling town, and I have never played this game. So good luck to you.
Small fishing village becomes giant. Le Havre?
No, might as well go. It was Yokohama.
Oh,
I've never actually.
okay. No, you haven't played that?
I have not had a chance to play that one yet. So,
Well, if you like Istanbul.
Istanbul is one of my all-time least favorite games.
Then I think you might want to let that one pass you by then.
Okay, problem solved.
All right. And then I believe this is the last one, if my count is correct. And I believe you have 3 to my 2, if I am also correct. Which, the interwebs will tell us if we're not, right?
Okay. Well, this one can also be worth like a random assortment of points, like a point basket in a way. So perhaps it could be a catch-up mechanic.
All right. So I got this. You ready? The Love Hut, stone, gold, wood, and boats.
That would be Stone Age, which I was going to pull off the shelf and be real clever, but I don't have on this shelf. But it's still Stone Age.
Just going to show that this is completely legit, but absolutely correct. Stone Age. Spot on.
Oh,
well done.
I thought for a second that you were going to say no, it's actually Yokohama again.
Yeah, well, you can't go wrong with the Love Hut. So, well, Chaz, this was a lot of fun. I'm super excited that you were able to come on the show and hang out, and I loved our time together. So where can people find you on the internet?
The primary place of purveyance to find Pair of Dice Paradise is on YouTube, probably at youtube.com/Pair of Dice Paradise, all one word, or on Twitter, where I hang out a lot, where I'm at Dice Paradise. And also www.pairofdiceparadise.com is my website that also has links to just all the social media stuff and all the videos and all of the other general whatnot.
Awesome. And now you know why Chaz needs a pop filter when he does all that. So thank you, everybody, for joining us on this special episode of Game All Nite. We'll see you next week. This week's media creator shoutout, Epic Gaming Night. Roy Candidate features great conversations every Friday night, so be sure to check them out.
It's the Top 5 Countdown.
This week and every week, we ask viewers just like you to send in their answers to one burning question. This week's question on Twitter, using the hashtag GANTop5, was, when is the best time to start a party game? Coming in at number 5, at the end of a game night. Thank you, D. Bazan on Twitter. At a Party brings up number 4 from Dwarf Token. Number 3, sometime around the third drink. That comes from Chris Gibbs on Facebook. Number 2, just before the cops arrive. J. Cole00 making his way onto all 3 lists. Well done. And number 1, we have a new contributor with when Ticket to Ride is a little too thinky for your group. Thanks, Mark. And stay tuned next week to see what questions we ask you. Well, that's a wrap. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed our efforts at comedy and fun, please support us on Podpledge. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And of course, don't forget to engage with us on Board Game Geek Guild 3134. You can also check us out on our website, GameAllNightShow.com. This show has been made possible through supporters like these. Angry Octopus. Not very good at charades.
It's a camel.
Tree. Damn it!